All right. McConaughey vibes. Week 1, NFL, baby. We are back. Pete Traina joining the show. We're talking picks. Pete, how you doing, baby?
I'm fucking well, man. It's football's back, man.
It feels good. It feels good. We toyed around with this a little bit with Pete coming on the show last year and putting out some gambling picks. And we're going to make it a weekly thing. This year, we'll have Pete on every week during the season to give some of his picks. It'll be picks, player props. We'll mix it up every week, do a little bit of everything. So we're going to get right into it. We'll do it during halftime of the Thursday Night Football games live every week. And then it'll be available with the regular Friday podcast on all the normal podcast providers every Friday. So we'll get right into it. Pete's got, I think, 4 games we're going to get into. We got it up on the screen here. And then we got some player props that are part of the week 1 contest that Thrive Fantasy is rolling out this week. So let's get right into it. Pete, first game that you have here, New York Jets, because you wanted to find a way to my heart, at the Carolina Panthers. What do we like in Jets Panthers?
I love everything but the defense, and that's why I love the over. I think the Jets. So I think I scored this game 26-20 Panthers, and the over is when I bet it was 44.5. And that was based off mostly last year's Jets. So I boosted my Jets number a little bit and even a little bit on the Panthers. So I mean, I could see this game sailing over. I mean, not even turnovers, with Darnold throwing picks or just, rookie quarterback. And I think that it favors the over more. There's the Jets, their defense is, it's not great in cornerbacks. I think that's where the Panthers can attack the Jets in the pass game. What do you think?
I would agree with loving the over in this one. I think that the Jets defense, it was going to be promising in terms of from a pressure standpoint, and I still think they'll be pretty decent at getting pressure on the quarterback with their interior defensive line with Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins, even John Franklin Myers out on the edge and Bryce Huff, but the corners are bad, and that's like putting it pretty gently. The corner group is not good. And I get it from a fan perspective, being a fan of the team. They want to go young and see what they have there before they invest probably pretty big at the position next year. But Carolina should be able to score some points, even though Darnold, I think Darnold is better than what he's shown the last 2 years for the Jets. So I think with the skill players he has around him and that coaching staff, he should be better off than he's been with the Jets. And I don't think they're going to come out super conservative with Zach Wilson. I really don't. I know that they want to run the ball, and we've talked about it like over and over and over again. They want to run the ball, Shanahan type offense. They're going to involve multiple guys, but he targeted Corey Davis early and often through preseason. Elijah Moore should be out there. We'll see if Denzel Mims gets involved. Jamison Crowder has, tested positive for COVID, and Keelan Cole popped up on the injury report, but I think it sails past 44.5. I really do. Yeah. I think that these teams should both score points. I don't see a lot of defense in this one at all.
No, and we're also forgetting the Adam Gase effect. That boosts both teams here. We got that boosts Sam Darnold, and that boosts the Jets.
The rare double positive Gase.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I agree with you. This is actually one of my favorite plays of the day. I think, like you said about the 49ers offense, but Shannon's never had a quarterback with this live of an arm either, in my opinion.
It'll be exciting to see what he can put out there. Let's move on to the second one we have. We've got Minnesota at Cincinnati. What are we thinking on this one here?
So this one I took the over, and I'm losing a little closing line value because I think it's at 47 now. I'm trying to look at my numbers here. Where do I have this? Okay, yeah. I have this score 26-25. So obviously that's over 48. So I still feel comfortable with it, but I'm a little upset that I lost a little value there because I could have gotten over 47 today. But it's just kind of the same feeling as the Jets Panthers. Two offenses. I mean, a lot of people are saying, I think they'll be a little more conservative with the Bengals offense, trying to be risk averse, but I don't know, man. Like, he looked good throwing the ball last year to a degree. I would keep doing that. I mean, I wouldn't try to just run it and be bland and try to nurture him back to health. That there's no reason to do that. I think you got to do what he does well. And same thing with the Vikings. I mean, I don't love Kirk Cousins, but I think he's like a little underrated, especially in fantasy. But like I said, my numbers have this going over, and I got to go with them.
Yeah, I think that I think that I don't want to say there'll be pushback, but I think people will question like, oh, okay, well, Chase hasn't looked good and Burrow's coming back from the injury. But I agree that like you can't turn this into you can't turn Joe Burrow into game manager Joe Burrow. Like he looked promising. He looked every bit the part of number 1 overall pick a year ago before the injury. And I think I'm a huge T. Higgins guy. I think Jamar Chase is going to be fine. That's a story for a different day. I think there's enough firepower on that offense to hang with Minnesota and keep it close. And I agree. Kirk Cousins, he's never going to be like the buzziest name or the player people are most excited about. But he doesn't really have to be when he's throwing to Justin Jefferson, and even Adam Thielen, I think, will be productive to some level. And hey, a top 3 running back in the NFL probably, and Dalvin Cook back there as well. So I think that, Cincinnati's defense, not great. Minnesota's defense a year ago, not great. I'm curious to see if that is a little bit of a blip on the radar, or if there's some, consistency there. If Zimmer gets this defense back to where it's been in years past, or if it still kind of struggles a bit this year. So I'm on the fence on this one. I would probably go with the over. I wouldn't be as confident as I am also going with the over in Jets Panthers. But yeah, I think, week 1, I think it's tough for a lot of these defenses sometimes, and the offenses can kind of come out swinging.
That's basically my take, and especially like last year, I know it was the highest scoring year. Like the totals average per game has gone up, and any game under 50 is a liability for most teams, unless you're like this Giants Broncos game. But the only thing that I get scared about this game is, like you said about the Vikings defense, they got a little bit better in the pass rush, and the Bengals offensive line is very, very suspect. And I could see a scenario where, they get to Burrow early and, they rush with Dalvin Cook. But I could also see a couple cheap late, garbage touchdowns or some pick sixes at the end of the game because they're trying to come back. So that's why I lean over there. Plus my numbers say so.
Garbage time matters. Always does.
It counts.
Still counts. All right, third game we have here, Denver at your New York Football Giants. We got a couple things going on here. Break it down for the people.
Okay. Obviously, I'm completely biased with the Giants, but I score this game 22-22. So when I see a home team getting 3 points and I score it like that, I almost have to take it. I think that obviously this is going to be a defensive, low-scoring game. And I understand why people are down on the Giants because their offense is, it's pretty bad. But I also don't think the Broncos' offense is any good. And, if I had to pick, Teddy Bridgewater over Daniel Jones, and I think I would pick Daniel Jones. And in terms of pure talent, now he could, he's in turnover prone and all that. But it's just pure talent. I think he can get it done. And like I said, the 3 points at home, it's almost an instant bet. I also kind of like the under, but I didn't take that.
Yeah, it's kind of strange that I'm surprised that Denver is the favorite in this one with the Giants at home. I agree. I Bridgewater's the safer play of the two quarterbacks, I guess. But definitely not as much sheer upside. And I don't know. I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a big game. I really do. I despite being eased in, I think Saquon Barkley is the engine that makes that offense go. And coming back, and we'll see what the rest of the passing game looks like around him. But I know Denver's got a good defense, but it's close enough to me that it's realistic to me to assume the Giants win this game outright. So I like Giants money line, and I like Giants +3 both because I think if I was just doing straight up, pick them, I would probably pick the Giants to win this game. because I think that for as good of a story as Teddy is, and as nice of a guy as it seems like he is, and everybody likes to root for Teddy Bridgewater, and for fantasy purposes, like I know he can support relevant options. We saw it with Robbie and DJ Moore a year ago, and Curtis Samuel. But I see the Giants coming out on top in that one.
Yeah, and that's why I did the money line and the the +3, because kind of just balancing because I agree with you. I think the Giants win this outright, but I'll take the +3 any day as well. So I kind of just split my odds there.
All right, last one we have here: Cleveland at Kansas City. What do we like here?
I like the Browns +6. This is another play. I think this game is. This game reminds this not remind it, it's. I think it's going to remind us of like those Chiefs Rams games, those Chiefs Patriots games, where it's kind of like 42-47, last person with the ball.
Yeah.
And in those kind of games where I believe it's a coin flip, I'm going to take the points. I score this 28-25 Kansas City. So I'll take those +6, and I'll take those, in my numbers, that's 3 free points. I love what the Browns did. They have a good offensive line. They have a good defensive line. Those are two units you want to be good at. They bolstered up their secondary. That was probably their biggest weakness last year. It's hard not to like the Browns this year, especially even now, even more with the Ravens injuries. And the Chiefs are, they're the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs win, but 6 points is a lot. And the only thing I'm scared about this game, and it's kind of arbitrary, but it is a real stat, is Andy Reid off of bye weeks. And I guess technically, since there wasn't a preseason game last week, this is almost like off of a bye week. He's ridiculous. I don't have the number in front of me, but Andy Reid's numbers off a bye or off extra rest is absolutely insane. So that scares me a little bit, but I like the Browns and the points. It matches my numbers. It matches everything I like. I like what the Browns do, and I could see them winning this game. I think it's last team with the ball wins.
Yeah, this is tough because it's like your heart almost wants to be like, oh, the Chiefs are so good, but the Browns should be a really good team. And I think it kind of just depends on what version of Baker Mayfield we get. If we get, like settled in Baker, what he looked like down the stretch last year, like in command of that offense, really ready to kind of take another step. Yeah, I would agree. I think 6 points is a lot, and I would lean the Browns as well. But I could definitely see it being a shootout. We said it with a couple of these games. I think sometimes it's just hard for the defense in week 1 to keep up with the offense, and both of these teams should be able to put up points in a variety of different ways. I mean, the Chiefs will be able to put up points really almost however they want with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and I expect Clyde Edwards-Helaire to take another step. But the Browns running game is going to be maybe the best in the league, with the best probably tandem to do it. And I think, I don't know, 6 points when you have that kind of firepower is a lot. So I'd probably side with you on that one as well. Let's get into some of these player props that we have real quick here. Let me pull those up for you. So some props that we have for the Thrive Fantasy Week 1 contest. If you have not already, please make sure to go sign up with the fine folks over at Thrive Fantasy. If you haven't already, you can sign up using promo code THEDRIVE, THEDRIVE. 100% deposit match up to $100 for these Week 1 contests. 3 props that I picked out that I really, really like in these Week 1 contests. First one is Justin Herbert. The line is 1.5 passing touchdowns. I love the over. It seems like it would be really shocking if Austin Eckler plays, and I think the pass game is what makes this team go. I think Herbert is in store for a huge year. I love Keenan Allen. I'm more in on Mike Williams than I think a lot of people are. So I'm a big fan of the passing game weapons for the Chargers as a whole for season long, and I think he easily throws at least 2 passing touchdowns this week. I feel real good about that one. Second thing I have here is we just talked about the Browns game. Odell Beckham Jr., they have the line set at 8.5 receptions. As much as we like, how many points could be scored in that game, 9 catches is a lot and
that's a lot.
Yeah, and I'm in on the Odell bounce back. I'm in on, Odell being a surprise and a value for fantasy, but I have to take the under there. I think he'll be involved, but 9 catches is just too much for me to bank on. And the last one that I picked out, Stephon Diggs, the line was 7.5 receptions. That one, however, I do like the over on. I do think Stephon Diggs, especially down the stretch last year, we saw him rattle off performances of 9 catches, 10 catches, 11 catches. He's the guy there. I'm not really worried about Emmanuel Sanders coming in and taking too much shine. Gabe Davis will be involved, especially as a red zone weapon. But I think Stephon Diggs will continue to be an absolute target monster for the Buffalo Bills. So we'd love to hear what thoughts you have on those 3 picks there, Petey.
Well, I would love to be like contrarian with you, but I mean, I kind of agree with all of them. Definitely agree with the Odell Beckham play. 8.5 is an impressive line. I would have to pull up some of my sports books, but that's a lot, man. Coming off the injury, they're a run-first team. They've got a couple other weapons. Like you said, I love Odell, and I think he's going to have a monster year this year, and I think he's going to win a lot of people some leagues because he went pretty late in almost every draft I was in. So I love the under there. Diggs, the over. Again, I love that. He was, I mean, what did he have, like 1,400 yards last year?
Big season.
It was something like that. I think he's going to have another monster year, so I'm with you on that. And who are they playing?
Pittsburgh, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I think that Pittsburgh defense is good, but I think they lost a little bit, lost a couple pieces. I would lean over there as well. And the only one I slightly could see going under would be that slightly disagree with you would be the Herbert one. Washington's defense is pretty good. I could see them, getting some. When I did my numbers on this game, and I remember just being like, I don't like anything about this. What did I score? I scored this 23-23. So obviously there's I'm saying that they'll score 3 touchdowns. So like you were saying with Eckler out, if they're scoring 3, 2 of them should be passing. So I guess if I'm going off my score, I probably would agree with you. But just in my kind of heart or my gut, I guess I could see where the football team gets to Herbert often and kind of rattles him a little bit. Even though I love Herbert and I think he's going to be a fantastic quarterback, I'm pretty bullish on this Washington defense, especially the front.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great unit. All right, well, there you have it, folks. We're going to get back to watching some week 1 NFL because we've been waiting long enough for it, but we're going to do this every week during the regular season. We'll mix it up. It'll be different picks all the time, regular picks, player props. We'll do a little bit of everything, maybe mix in some DFS. We'll see. But, Pete, thank you for joining me. It's going to be a great time this season, and we'll be back same time, same place next week.
My pleasure, man.